to be accessible, to tell stories of people whose stories weren't out there. And I have a new book, a brand new book, besides Ciento, 100 love poems that I'll be reading from, and it's available here in this bookstore. I have a brand new book that's coming out soon, called Ciento, 30-something from the cruelest. And here's a couple of poems. Here's a poem from there. Friendly Fire. He was the friendliest fire you'll ever meet, the burning brow, hawk-like, eagle-eyed and splendid, black wings opening when he looked at you stunning in the view. He had a vein constricted at the temple, a single throb pulse of rage before he hit you. The most beautiful man you'll ever meet, full of I love yous and honey, the stick and sweet spoil of summer sweating off that brow. He'll need you, he'll time you, ride you till it hurts, be a word he doesn't speak, a turn of phrase in French, something foreign to this land, the red dirt that birthed him, first son of a lost, civilized tribe. He was the most too good to be true you'd ever seen, and then you vanish. Under a lump on your head, the size of an apricot, plum-colored plush, just you, First Nation penalty. He was the friendliest fire you had ever smoked. He was the quickest burn in an underground forest of men. He was the timber, a tender fire, and going down in flames.
Nice.
And this is another story poem, someone else's story, Memphis Minnie, my idol since I was 15 years old and listening to Chris Strachowitz show on KPFA radio. Sweet sugar on brown dresses. Memphis Minnie stole the show, twanging and wailing on her electric guitar, making the trains sing through the blood of the dancers, their sewing machines stitching brown uniforms into souls through their steps, the dance taking the hand of sorrow for a spin. She would plan the great escape, sojourner searching for her truth, all gussied up and settling for a six-string happiness. Next train to Clarksville, it's a long way home, it's a long walk home. I've been there, taxi ride across town with a Pakistani driver who was born there. Sure, he said, the paper just ran a big spread. Her stance, her grinning gold, the accents of her indigenous brows, even near death, a face, and the paralyzed hands folded on the porch in Memphis. Another photograph, another kind of home, far from the stockyards, the killing pens, the sundown laws. It was not that my man done left me, that pleading through the night. It was that I hate to see that evening sun go down, when the law had the right to arrest you, an unaccompanied negress, rape you, beat you, sterilize you, and abort your child when the sun go down. And I have a villanelle. I don't usually write villanelles. And then we don't usually lose a city like New Orleans. So this was a poem that was part of a fundraising effort. I wrote the poem to raise $100, and since I raised $100 for the Katrina survivors in New Orleans, I also contributed to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys' effort to give direct aid to New Orleans, to go down there with real money and water and food and whatever else they need, like mosquito nets and things. Anyway, I was able to read this poem to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys because I donated to his cause. And I remember him saying, you want to read me a poem that you wrote? That won't be necessary. He kept repeating that about 4 times, and then I explained to him it was for Clarence Gatemouth Brown, who had died, I think, of a broken heart a couple of days after Katrina hit, after being found in a boat roaming around in the water and ill. A blue wake for New Orleans for Clarence Gatemouth Brown. There was a rhyming city on a blue bayou till a wicked wind laid waste. A nothing sound in a city's soul and a nothing you can do. There was a windy will and a blue horn, you, a single name that was left in haste. There was a rhyming city on a blue bayou. There is a wailing city, a water high and you, left amid the residue up to your waist. A nothing sound in a city's soul and a nothing you can do. There was a loving city in a blue hoodoo, through a hard-knocked school, a river's waste. There was a rhyming city on a blue bayou, a full moon hue, a relation to dew, jewelry on a spider's bed, so chaste. A nothing sound in a city's soul, and a nothing you can do. There is a silent city, a blue shirt crew, the yellow vest of Savior waits. There was a rhyming city on a blue bayou, a nothing sound in a city's soul, and a nothing you can do. We'll bring Jim Powell.
Substrate takes its title from a sequence of 25 poems with which it concludes that are concerned with the permanent elements in the cultural history of California, especially centered on Northern California. And the first poem in it is called A Painted Hemisphere. It refers to a tribe that lived on the Mimbres River in southwestern New Mexico from 4900 AD until about 1250 AD, and had an incredible and I think unquestionably world-class tradition of painted pottery, which is now scattered around various places in the United States, some in New Mexico. A painted history, a painted hemisphere. The Mimbres ancients buried family skeletons prone underneath their Pueblo household floors, with broad ceramic bowls inverted over skulls and interred eye sockets upward below their earthen domes. The interface, a painted hemisphere of art for blind eternity. A hole punched through the center, the bowl chosen, fulfilling custom, letting the breath escape the broken clay, the image, the design. A lunar rabbit bends a quarter turn round this one's vacant middle. The winking crow perched halfway down his backbone beaks the nearest of 4 pair of ribs, their cartoon crescents, all the remains of the hare's hindquarters. His waning orb half eaten by the bird pecking clean the knuckles of his spine. This 5th moon rabbit, hare of the May, his good eye cocked off center at the bottom of a punctured bowl, and grizzled whiskers quiz the solar scavenger fastened on his shoulder like talons in the quick. In his still gaze, outward serenity, a bemused whisper, sister quail, brother fish.
Could you project a little bit more, Jim?
Sure, I'll maybe step a little closer too.
It's got a high ceiling to it.
Sure, yeah, no, I understand. The reason I wanted to hear Freeway 280 is that I lifted a phrase out of it as the title for this poem, which is one of the two pivot poems in the collection Substrate. William Buckle was an English sailor who landed with his brother in Los Angeles, or maybe in Santa Barbara, in the early 1820s, and came north to Monterey in after the drought of 1828 and 29. He was in 1829. He was baptized Guillermo and married Antonia Castro. They had 9 children over the next 15 years, including 5 daughters. Wild Mustard remembers he got a Mexican land grant for a square mile of land in what's the area of what's now Davenport, north of Santa Cruz, which he called his homestead there La Carbonera. This is dated Lammas, 1842. Lammas is the 1st of August. It's a Celtic quarter day. Wild Mustard remembers La Carbonera, Lammas, 1842. When no rain fell for 22 infernal months, to spare the forage before it failed, we tried stampeding droves of horses over ocean cliffs. We penned them in corrals to starve. We slaughtered cattle in numbers surpassing our capacity to flay or cure the hides and rescue a return from the disaster by trade with Yankee smugglers. And still, the herds remaining grazed the native grasses down to the barren root before the feast of their parched carcasses gorged vultures and coyotes. And even so, no rain. It was afterward, once the climate's seasonal storms resumed their cycle, that the alien mustard weed took hold here, spreading farther north each year. Already, my younger daughters have never seen this countryside arrayed in March otherwise than in mustard gold. It grows so rank along the valley bottoms, by May it overtops a person's head on horseback. But as the summer weather settles in, hillsides again put on their oated coat of old. In the weeks when, well before dawn, a warming air begins to stoke the purgatorial oven of afternoon. Wisest to rest out the heat within a cool retreat, shifting from shade to shade among the oak and aromatic bay as morning shadows dwindle to a line, a breath, and pause, and change direction while time hangs aloof, suspended in the balance of the sun. Or from a sheltered cleft gaze out upon the lion-colored landscape with its indecent contours, the hollows buttocks have, the dimples of a shoulder. At dusk, the deer and cougar disappear while motionless against its pelt of brittle grasses. When lamps are lighted in the valley's lap, and the emerging stars construct the vault of night. This is called the Lances of Old Spain at San Pascual. San Pascual was the climactic battle between the Californios and the invading American forces in 1846 actually. It's the first poem that I wrote in Substrate. It came out of the amusement at looking around at we have about a dozen different eyewitness accounts of that battle. We have accounts from the California side, we have accounts from the American side, we have an account that originates with Native American, San Diegoino Native American who witnessed the battle. So we have a lot of versions of what went on, including two from Kit Carson. The Lances of Old Spain at San Pascual, December 6, 1846. With the vanguard of General Kearny's dragoons, frontier scout Kit Carson, genial cutthroat, collector of scalps, bearing down at a gallop on San Pascual, by an opportune tumble saved himself, his horse shot under him, and lived to tell how they erupted from the chaparral and charged the California Lancer cavalry, who fled pell-mell and drew them, doubled back, and cut their squads apart piecemeal like cattle in Matanza, the razor reach of Spanish lances from another century too long for sabers and clubbed bayonets. Desert bedraggled army horsemanship no match for practical vaquero mastery of slaughter from horseback. Unscathed, almost, the Californians retired. Kearny lost 20 men and could not sit a horse himself for months. Of those in the first onslaught, only a few stragglers survived the brunt, the savvy scout among them. General Pico's victory altered nothing. Kearny was delayed a week in reaching San Diego. Old Alta California was still lost or won, depending on the point of view. It was a backward country. The pennons prancing on the antique lance heads, the horsemanship that rivaled Tartary's, style in defeat. In a half generation, 2 years drought and want of capital destroyed the herds and bankrupted the rancheros. I'll read one more poem having to do with history, and then pass it back to you. This is called Terms of Employment, and it's Bob Brotherton talking, and he's talking in Watsonville in the mid-1890s about events that took place 15, 20 years earlier. Terms of employment. When I was agent for the telegraph, we lost connection on the San Juan to Visalia line, and the front office wired me to restore it. I rode south up the valley and over Pinoche Pass until I found poles down. Then north to Mercy Hot Springs and Los Banos, rounding up the posse of vaqueros I hired to help, and with a liberal supply of spirits to encourage their assistance, we completed repairs expediently. And when I billed the job and itemized refreshments, $50, they summoned me to San Francisco. Once I explained, and the high muckamucks came down off the ceiling, they told me, henceforth, always to call liquor hardware.
Okay. I want to read a few poems from Ciento, 100 word love poems. What's your favorite number from 1 to 100?
9.
9. Number 9, 100 words over how I don't bear a grudge for the heart. I don't carry a grudge against the government. I have the nation of you. I have your hands and what they can do. I have the heart of you, special core of your purpose and power. I have the gift of your sweat-stained sage, your hummingbird's bliss, sanctuary that you would find in me. I don't carry a grudge for any mortal. I have the fire of you. I I don't bear a grudge for the stars, the shifting planets, seas repel and contract, all those contracts of amour, broken and otherwise. I have this treaty with the heart. Another number? These are like tarot cards, so.
We have no idea.
Another number? 41. 100 words for fire. I want your fire, not your flame. What cauterizes, what heals, what enriches the soil. I want the fire of you. What burns fine to your touch. What blazes in your gaze, the St. Elmo's fire of your dreaming, the ashes of your mea culpas. I want what evaporates hot tears, what transforms doubt into must. I want the sudden lick, the gulp of magic, tasseled sunsets all around. I want the molten core, the dynamo between your thighs, cauldron inside your eyes, alchemized. I want the wisest you, the wizened you, word wizard you, enchanting bolt of spell you. Another number? Favorite number, 1 to 100?
77.
77. 100 words to a noisy you. Man, I want you noisy. Noisy as a room full of squonking saxophones, noisier than a bagpipe convention in Glasgow. I want you to make some noise for me, because of me. I want you pealing and babbling in tongues. I want to toll you as I roll you, sound test you and check your mic. Baby, I want to crank it up to 100. I want us to keep the cats up all night. I want your heart on a Marshall amp. I want to bear all the bones of you down to bone. Let me hear your love. One more number?
58.
58. That's a good age, by the way. 100 words to the perception of you. I have this perception. You are who you are, been where you've been. I know. I know what anyone knows, short of nothing. I know birds return, not to me. I know what I feel, what hurts, the shape of you on top of me. Perception like me, once extinct, now an insurrection of knowledge. Now I percolate through dreams. You dream me into cloth, into your warmth beside you. Whatever sign do I need? So plainly, snow tracks, fallen cake crumbs for you, messages that pass through mountains, pass through diamond and mist, waves of missing you, particles change. Thanks. I want to bring Jim back up one more time, and then we'll have our open mic monotone until we run out of time. Hey, welcome, Amy.
We'll start with culture saturation, something new. called Doxology. These are, these are two poems for the occupied people. Doxology. Praise monsters if you mean to rise. Praise them that fatten on their neighbor's hunger, dividing each from each, and all from all, to make weak prey. They are above the law because they own the law. Praise monsters. Praise clear-cutters and strip miners. Praise marketeers of poison and delusion, manufacturers of scarcity, and profiteers of famine. The earth is their inheritance to desecrate. Praise monsters. Praise the single eye that blazes atop the pyramid, where we keep our places by keeping down those underneath and rise by the betrayal of those who stand beside us. Praise servitude. Praise fear. Praise monsters. Last, praise the dust thrown in your eyes. Throw another fistful for yourself. Can't you see a brighter future glinting in the grime? Praise your gag and praise your blinders. Praise monsters. That's for the New York Times, and Time Magazine, NBC and ABC, and all those good people paid to lie. It's a very profitable business, like poisoning. This is called Pyramid Scheme. Chrome, old meat. Oh, a caryatid, I'll remind you, is a statue carved out of stone that functions as a pillar in a building. A caryatid. Pyramid scheme. Chrome, old meat. Once, this town was your home. Now, you're living on the street. The bottom line has put you there to rot. You can't pay the rent. Every 7 years it doubles. Now shelter is too dear for you, since who you are is what you've got. It takes 6 weeks to build a cabin, 6 months to make a house, but 30 years won't pay for either, the banker and the landlord say. So, nightly, in TV dreams, the pyramid of paper mounts in piles. It gets a purchase on your back and towers and sprawls and sags till what you got is what you are. Your family's gone, the neighbors all rank strangers, a shopping cart of newspapers and rags. Chrome, caryatid broken under your stone, the full weight of the pyramid crushes down on your shoulders, anonymous as birth. Sovereignty. The child, riding his father's shoulders above the crowd, looks down into the world of faces swimming at his knees, king of the world in his own mind. At each turn, alternate destinies invite his liking. He gapes, meanwhile, and holds tight, safe on the charmed brink of childhood, a bubble clinging at the fall's lip, delighting to be thus elevated. Later, learning to carry his own weight on solid ground, he would renounce the idols riding his father's back, curse naked king and paper crown to make his way, still not noticing how his choices begin to overtake him, the water rising at his heels. And what if, his father's age, hearing his own son on his shoulders laughing in his blind spot, he starts to glimpse amid the hazard of stray blows, like a face returning in a dream, the emerging features of the fate that took him captive, sovereign, indelible. Suppose he finds the means to climb from the staining flood of self, to see the circle whole and know he is what he's become as the weight bears him down Now will he learn mercy? And I'm going to finish with a couple new poems. They're short, but they're slow. This is called The Hour. The hour. The old year ends in fear, as it began for many a man, met with curses at reverses, or remorse completes its course. A few rejoice in a loud voice, others glower, craving their power. Some cower, all bow to the hour. It's called a lure. Like a bird at night, homing on a light, slam, here I am again, against the icy pane, knocked down from a height, blind ass in full flight, or else the way a sailor in a mermaid mirror, caught and captivated by cold glass, as fated, lured to drown, grasps after an image on the water, bobbing, and sits bolt upright, driven wake, sobbing. Phases, like phases of the moon, phases of attitude, phases of mood, phases, sound asleep above the deep. The sickle arc conveys her spark underground, 3 nights dark, a fickle voyage where waters meet and quicken passage incessantly. She lifts free and rises, crescent-wise, quicksilver crown. Cresting the brim, light overflows the winking rim of all she knows and faces him full on, up close. An interim of grace, a dose of soma in a gaze disclosed, gate open in a way proposed, outside the close of seasons. The moon upends her bowl of tears, the rains intend toll of fears. Too soon to spend, day disappears. She cannot mend the pouring years, or pretend her role unclear. The scroll ends, darkness nears. She will not hear of reasons. Full circle back to zero, shadow fills her bowl. Silt chokes the basin, and the fountain spilt its lace of pearls. A haven for her hidden face, drained of reflection, mute, stained. She returns to mill, distilling what she flees. Need coils a nest in lack, an ache of hungry seed to slip her clasp and spill, snaking from her fingers, sink to rest in soil and be still. And one more, and this is called Circumference. This bowl is the clay whose spinning orb escaped the pressure of her palms upward to take shape at the center of the wheel. A thumb plunged in, opened it up inside, fingertips curled the lip. Tried and purified, it passed through fire twice. This is the bowl she threw. The band of bone ash blue around the rim embraces and abolishes emptiness in calm. Brim it with piles of petals or spew. It contains them. Its circumference encloses yellow bile as well as roses. Stone-like in the hands with a granite ring, its moon silver inner round encompasses an end, beginning, and return.
I guess that concludes the featured reader part, and we have a surprise special guest. Tonight we have Sharon Dubiago with us. Do you have anything? You have your book with you? That would be great. We also have Naomi Quinones, who was originally asked to help us launch our open mic series here, Alley Cat Poets in the Mission, and our theme of La Historias, and she is a historian. And being a good historian, she is just back from doing research in Mexico, just off the plane. So we're glad to have her here for our open mic. And Sharon Dubiago will be reading same time next month, first Wednesday of the month, Alley Cat Poets in the Mission, with Sherry Moraga, a real treat. Sharon Dubiago and Sherry Moraga.
I was stunned by that Juan Sabas poem. I grew up 4 miles from that battleground, and my current memoir I'm writing begins with that battle. And the boy on the front of my first big book, Hard Country, is a San Pasqual native. And many, well, have you ever been to the Wild Animal Park? That's San Pasqual and San Diego County. And the book Ramona by Helen Hunt Jackson is about those people. And so that was stunning.
Have you run
Really
across Florence Shippick?
Yes, I certainly have. certainly. I haven't read the native account of that battle because generally it's accepted that California, the Americans lost that battle, but they also claim that it's what got us California. That's the last battle. You said that. That's good. And I thought I didn't bring the right book, so I can't read my opening of my memoir about being conceived in Redondo Beach. So, history is a huge theme of mine. Maybe I will read Sally Hemings' Dress. I come from a very long line of abolitionists, Southern abolitionists, and so my family, five generations back, had a plantation next to Monticello, and the records show they had no slaves, and they fought. So that argument that Thomas Jefferson just didn't know better is a lie, a total lie. And of course, Sally Hemings was a slave, and his wife's half-sister. And this is incredible art, series of art that was done in Charlottesville when this happened. And the DNA finally came in 2001, proving that in fact these folks were direct descendants of Thomas Jefferson. That just blew everyone, because they denied it. They denied it and denied it. All of the scholars, University of Virginia, the preachers. Oh God, it's disgusting. Anyway, this is what happened when the DNA came in. Well, this is a poem. I love this photograph. Sally Hemings' dress. When I put on Sally Hemings' white dress, I found myself stepping up the highest building in Virginia. I pulled it off and draped it over the steeple's cross. When the sun rose, I was standing there naked, the father of my children. And when the sun set, I was the moon and all the stars, the father of my country. This doesn't mean I don't love Thomas Jefferson and his pants. Of course, only in heaven does he get to wear a dress. Here, even the president can only lie down on the bed, drape it over himself and sigh, what am I to do with this? When he puts the cigar in her vagina, the highest building in the land collapses brick by brick. The dress goes up in flames, semen of sunrise, noose strung from the oak around his neck, bloody cock in my bloody black mouth. But oh, moon, you rise again, virgin impenetrable, and I step through the sky in my beautiful dress, issuing forth all the Union and Confederate dead in theirs.
Naomi?
Is that all? Well, history is, many times we think of history as part of the past, and history is right now. And thank you, Lorna, for making history by getting the series together at Alley Cat. Let's give her a hand for that. Looking forward to many more wonderful readings here. Yeah, just some exquisite poetry tonight. I'm very, very happy to be here. I'm sorry I had to get here a little bit late and miss yours, but I shall catch up with you again. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read this particular poem because at this time, with what is going on in this country, this society, and we have these voices rising that are sexist, racist. We have the specter of the Limbaugh comments. We have the judge sending out these hateful emails about Obama and his mother. We just have all of this ugliness that has not been like purged from this country. I don't know if it ever will be. That is back again. I wrote this actually maybe about a year ago when the Tea Party was actually spitting at, it was the end of a congressional session, and there were Tea Party members out there, and they were spitting and throwing things at the Liberal Congress. This was such a despicable thing. So I inspired this, called The Voices of the Old South. Definitely part of this country's history, and just in case we have forgotten about the segregation that was basically taken as normal for this country, we're being reminded of it right now. The voices of the Old South bellow in the new wind. The ghost of slave owners commandeer media, monitor the masses for hate. The Ku Klux Klan casts off its sheets and storms the streets of Washington. A body of white and bellicose in sweatpants and tennis shoes parades its scorn, spits in the face of reason, and marches to the legacy of the hate that ceded this nation's power. Centuries of Jim Crow, native genocides, continuous dispossession of Mexicans, and anti-immigrant sentiment, decades of indentured servitudes have carved harsh hearts, hardened the thin interiors of souls craving the violent controls of the past. What are you but a lynch mob in patriots' clothing, set out to hang the future by its neck, longing to leer with sweaty eyes at a social body swinging from a noose? March on, dwindling cadavers. Your threats to exterminate are pointless stagings of your fear, of new winds blowing louder and stronger with the voices of all people whose blood has nourished this land.
Evan?
Hi guys. So this is a new poem. It's called The Word for Gold. To go heavy when not engaging. distill into words, to collect them, whichever will catch me. I used to do 500 a day, 50 at a time. This is my 15. Is my breathing afterward is the light dying on the ground beside me is this block of text is beside the point. To be caught like a verb by its meaning. Your name. Your name. Your head, feet, knees. As you walk away, I'm trapped in the spotlight, shown on a dark past I haven't outlived yet. Bird feather flapping on memory. Skeletal land within wandering chastity, none of that making sense. All here, all random, how the joints collapse, all lives cemented by time. Predictable, but impossible to monitor, and undesirable, infinite, subconscious imitations of still life, infinite urges and urges contained, containments, let's call them. Bereavement of exalted one, clothes on her chair so easily cast, graveyards of blossom to decorate tombstones, deteriorating, root of severity, rinsing of tongue. Me? Left on light in an empty room, won't switch off, switch off, switch. I wanted the awakening of a God's poet stuttering from the truth of my heritage, untold due to the heft of it, too holy for the chosen people to carry, so they left it behind some walls, on tablets, too ancient to make any sense of it, too true to undo what the planet has spun out of it. The word for gold was always forged by the highest kidder. Take what has any meaning to you, share it meaningless. Catch what is coming to you, claim it regardless. Light your head on fire if you want to see, light your head on fire. Or would you rather be a mumbler? Crawl out of my comfortable gutter so decorated to disguise the amber guise of being confused by its uncanny way of having its way with me. Emptied while inside of it, rubbing my eyes so dashed with constancy, A-R-R-E. I am not too tired for the child on your arm and your care to offer a calm-centered look and an outstretched hand to stand on the edge and keep talking. To persist on the factual until it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense, of course. I'm not too tired for the risks I'm not taking from fear, nor too scared for the risks I'm not taking because I'm not tired. Outlived every adjective as I have, I'm not sorry. Sorry is not a state. These feelings I have, the result of the thoughts of an animal, needle in the head, melody stuck in my eye. 5 times in monotone echo. Oh, sing, human homework, human love. Behind the forgotten pleasantries of the past times we inherited and abandoned and abandoned and abandoned because you are not too fat to lap tawdry at the sweet of the lyre forged by invisible wings to the lip of the fire to burn or else be burned. The belch of purity, of faked, unfiltered, seasoned by grace, by chance of wind, plot of land, lack of overhang, and sound footwear, cracks from toe to sole and back so many times. The highway haunted is the dawn, a banquet, or smile, forced into stomach, too burdened by our thoughts' compulsions, to be a dependable portal anymore. Humans, spent and still spinning, lure cast into river, attached to the lightning rod dropped ever winding spool of the arbitrary sweep of the sky.
That was Evan Park, thank you. Would you like to read anything? Jennifer, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Sharon, Naomi?
On course.
Encores? There is a open mic tomorrow across the street, down the street at the Galeria La Raza. Long-running series, a Lunada series. Leticia Hernandez is going to be hosting the open mic and reading, and I can't remember who else is.
Barbara Reyes?
No, that's March 15th. I'm reading in Berkeley, Mo's Bookstore, March 15th with Barbara Jane Reyes. Otherwise I can't. Anyway, there's an open mic, 7 o'clock, 7:30 tomorrow. Next month, April 4th, Sharon Dubiago, Shetty Moraga, open mic. Tell your friends, bring your books, come visit and support this wonderful bookstore, and free poetry in the shoe. Thank you.